Good afternoon, Facebook family. My name is Attorney Soulmaz Taghavi. I'm an immigration attorney with the law firm Novo Taghavi. We're located in Richmond, Virginia, but we serve across the United States for all immigration matters that you may need. I want you all, if you haven't already, like our page, Novo Taghavi. Follow us on Instagram at Novo Taghavi. We are going to update you with all things immigration related during these novel COVID-19 times. And if you have any other questions while we're doing this Facebook Live, go ahead and post. I'm here today to talk to you about the presidential proclamation. It is a 60-day immigration ban. Travel ban. President Trump had enacted the proclamation just yesterday evening, and I'm going to go over who does it affect, who does it not affect, and then I'm going to answer a couple of your questions. So the proclamation does not affect U.S. citizens and green card holders. I have a couple of clients who are green card holders who are outside the U.S. Maybe they're visiting family in Colombia, or they're just abroad working. Those individuals can return to the United States. Now, if your airport is closed, or you're elderly or high risk and you don't feel safe traveling, and you're afraid that you're going to be outside of the U.S. for more than 6 months, I urge you to contact me. But in general, a CBP officer is the one who decides whether they can let you enter the country if you've overstayed 6 months. So I want everyone who has a green card who is outside the US to go ahead and start collecting your evidence. If you tried to purchase a ticket, it was canceled, or maybe you can get a letter from your doctor saying that you're elderly and you don't feel comfortable traveling, go ahead and start collecting that documentation so we can show that when you want to re-enter the United States, whether there's airplanes going or you just now feel comfortable, that you have detailed, your efforts to come into the United States. We're hoping that CBP will be generous given everything that's happening in the world with COVID, and hopefully that won't create any issues. So again, United States citizens, green card holders, you are exempt from this proclamation. Individuals who are already in the United States, or individuals who are abroad who already possess an immigrant visa, are also exempt. We also have PERMs or I-140 immigrant visas that are processing. Individuals applying for a green card overseas who are going to work in the healthcare profession or research intended to combat the spread of COVID-19, plus those individual spouses and children. Individuals seeking temporary non-immigrant visas like H-1Bs, Ls, E, Fs, student visas, they're also exempt from this proclamation. Members of the U.S. Armed Forces, special immigrant visas, those who served as translators in Iraq, Afghanistan, you're also exempt from entering. Those, and this is where the discretionary factor comes in, those who entry would be in the national interest or to further important U.S. law enforcement objectives. So if you think that you are entering the country, maybe it's on a family-based visa, but you can somehow help further the U.S. interests, we should talk. Maybe you're also exempt and we can make that argument to the U.S. government. Lastly, EB-5 investors, those are our big-time investors. Those are also exempt because they're going to go towards stimulating our economy. Now, who are the people that this does affect? So this does affect individuals who are abroad and who are waiting for an embassy interview for a green card via marriage to a lawful permanent resident, a child of a lawful permanent resident, parent and sibling of U.S. citizens. So you are subject to the 60-day travel ban. It's for 60 days right now, but the president does reserve the right to renew it. There is talk that he will renew it through the election period as to distract from the whole COVID-19, which he's been heavily criticized for. So do expect that there could be another 60-day exemption that he will make later on. So aside from those individuals, secondly, are individuals who are abroad and who are applying for a green card through employment-based application, except those who will work in the healthcare profession, research intended to stop the spread of COVID-19. So any essential workers that are working towards, whether it's a vaccine, antibody research, maybe they're part of the systems chain, supply chain, jobs that would interact in any of those fields, they will also be exempt. But all other green cards for employment-based applications are subject to the 60-day ban. So I have a couple of questions that I received that I want to go ahead and answer. They're great questions. One question is, well, how many people does this affect? So on migration policy, they have given a number, and they estimate that this would block around 26,000 green cards per month, or 52,000 green cards over the period of 60 days. Remember, this is, at least it's said in media by the president, this is to keep jobs for American workers. It doesn't seem that it's going towards health and safety and protecting immigration because of the spread of coronavirus. It seems that it's halting employment-based immigration visas so that American workers can get back to their jobs, and it's essentially exempting all the healthcare COVID workers. So 26,000 green cards per month. That's migration policy's expected of who it would block. So my other question was about USCIS processing. This is a great question. So if you do fall under this category, but you haven't even started the process yet, almost all family-based and employment-based immigration cases have a step 1 and a step 2. Almost always step 1 is going to happen stateside, and it's going to be processed with USCIS. If you haven't started that process, go ahead and start that process now. This migration ban does not affect any pending USCIS cases. So let me give you an example. You've married your Pakistani spouse abroad, you've come to the US, and then boom, you see the travel ban. I recommend that you go ahead and now speak to an immigration attorney and now start your case. Why? Because the first part of the application process needs to happen, and it's going to take time to happen. So once that I-130 is filed, it's subject to a processing time, which could be 6 to 8 months, and then you get the approval before that second part starts, meaning after USCIS approves the application, they then forward it to the consulate. So at the consulate, we still have a second step, meaning another application process. We have to collect documents, fill out forms, pay filing fees, and submit it to what's called the National Visa Center. So I suggest that unless you are at the interview stage and you've finalized everything and you're just waiting for the 60 days to pass, then that's the situation you're in. If not, you should still go ahead and start the process even if this proclamation affects you, because right now it's only 60 days. Trump could make it shorter, he could extend it, but there's a whole process that comes before. And we need to get started on that process. So let's get started. Let's get your applications approved with USCIS, and then send everything to the consulate, and then we'll cross that bridge to see where we are with the proclamation. So I hope that's very clear for everyone, that if you are subject to the 60-day immigration travel ban and you haven't started the process, do start it now. Give us a call, 804-614-6920. It's going to take time, especially with all these COVID delays. It's going to take time on our end, on USCIS's end. So go ahead and start now. Don't let the ban stop you. And it's going to take more than 60 days to start the process before you get to the consulate processing abroad. And then don't forget, there's also that discretionary factor, where the proclamation states that anyone whose entry would be in the national interest or further important U.S. law enforcement objectives. I'm not so sure about the law enforcement objectives, but the first part, anyone who would further national interests, that's a discretionary factor. So if we can argue that your work, or maybe your research or your education, your background can further the national interests, maybe we can find a way to use that discretionary factor to overcome the immigration ban. In general, a lot of the U.S. consulates across the 100-something countries that are facing COVID issues are more or less closed or not operating with in-person appointments. So that part has definitely slowed down consular processing in general. So that's my outline on the presidential proclamation on the immigration ban. It's a 60-day ban. Can be cut short, can be extended. This is going to affect about 26,000 green card applications per month, as Migration Policy states on their Twitter page. But if you haven't started the process and you are subject to the travel ban, give us a call, because there's a lot of things we need to do beforehand, including what I call step 1 with USCIS and getting that approved so we can even get to the consulate, and then we can talk about the travel ban, and maybe you can fit one of the discretionary factors and you can waive in. So tomorrow I'm probably going to do another Facebook Live in Spanish. I'm going to go over some information about the stimulus checks and mixed immigration status families. I'll discuss PPP and how is EOIR, or the Immigration Court, handling cases across the country right now. So stay tuned tomorrow. Like I said in the beginning, I'm Soulmaz Taghavi. I'm an immigration attorney with the law firm Taghavi. If you haven't already, like us on Facebook, follow us. We're keeping you up to date with all things immigration, all things COVID related. We're also on Instagram now, so definitely follow us. Thank you so much. And aside from that, give me your comments, questions, concerns, and I'll address them in our next Facebook Live. Thank you.